what has happened as we have made our education more centered around the particular neighborhoods that we live in, where property taxes are higher than in other areas. What happens to teachers and children? We struggle. How do we welcome everyone? We had wonderful conversations both as faith leaders, but also with representatives from Governor Dayton's staff, to think about what is possible when people of faith are willing to lead, to speak a prophetic word in which those who might be marginalized or oppressed or on the side say that there is a new way in which we can live and be community. And you know what? Today this can happen, fulfilled in our hearing and our action. Exciting. Wonderful. I went to that meeting Thursday afternoon, and other members of Calvary went Thursday night to Mayflower to talk and work on those same issues. And now we're looking forward to February 12th, where people of faith from North Minneapolis, affiliated with His Works, as well as people from Isaiah and Jewish Community Action and Muslim communities, are going to come together to say, we as people of faith are going to care for all citizens in our state. And we are challenging you as legislators to do the same. To not let just special interests or backroom deals have the last say, but know that there is a moral compass that continues to guide us. That the Spirit of the Lord washes over us, claims us, and sends us out to see the way in which we might be a fulfilled and a fulfilling promise of God's love and mercy, of God's compassion. Then for 40 days we will stand vigil. Congregations, synagogues, temples, at the Capitol. Each day knocking on the doors of legislators and saying, remember us. We're the people of faith who are out there, saying that there are ways that we can be community, to care for one another. And here's some things we really want you to think about. Now, we may not agree on all the details. Even those of us in this room may have very different understandings of how we work on education or healthcare or transportation, but we come to the table and we say that our vision is that no person is left behind. That together we live into this vision of what and who we might be. But let's be honest. That becomes a hard part. And we hear about that from Paul in his word that washes over us today. You see, the Corinthians, they had been they were a thriving church and community. They had so much going for them. But even in a thriving congregation, there can be those struggles of who might be a little bit better, a little better off, of who might be more important and that we couldn't do without. There are those who worry about, are their gifts being neglected at the expense of others? Are their contributions really making a difference in the lives of others? And all of a sudden there's an agitation about how to be church, how to work together in this vision of who Jesus calls us to be as community, as those who care for all God's children and who speak a word of love and compassion. And we struggle. And Paul, in one of his very pastoral moments, says, do you get it? We all need each other. We need the people who are really good speakers and who can get up there and rally everyone to action. We need the people who are good in meetings, keeping order and keeping things moving ahead. We need those people who are good at finances, who can say, let's look at our budget and break things down and realize what's happening. We need those people who can speak faithfully in the public sphere. We need those people who can make sure that things get done instead of those who just love to dream and think up things, and then, well, a month or two down the road, it's like, well, whatever happened with that? We need those detailed people to keep everyone on track, right? We need the people who interpret, the people who sing, the people who come with all that they are and work in the food shelf or volunteer their time in the community. We need every single person. Even when there is agitation or frustration. That's when we sit down and we hear again the significance of what it means to be community, and we refocus on who God calls us to be as a community. You see, in Nehemiah, things weren't all rosy and filled with sunshine. People were coming back in a difficult time. After the exile, after people having been forced to live abroad, and others who were left behind or had to stay. They're struggling with property right issues and who does what and how worship is done correctly. And they cry as they hear the words of Moses about how they are one people, one community, honoring one God and one witness. And then we hear these words from Paul, which continue to challenge and ideally strengthen us and root us in what it means to be church today. We do live this message for the sake of the promise and for and with this one who calls us into a new way of being. So whether it's today in our annual meeting downstairs, or whether it's at the state capitol over the course of the next 50 days, or whether it's simply in your local community, your neighborhood, the question is, how are you listening to this word? How is it causing you to stand up, to be renewed, to be challenged, and to look to this one who says, today, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. Today, these scriptures are fulfilled. Let us sing. Let us live. Let us be a witness with gusto, knowing that we are called to be community, to live faithfully and richly in this world.